Alright, Infernal Blessings. We are back with another video. Alright, before I begin, real quick, a couple announcements. First and foremost, since it's on the top of the agenda for the moment, the 8th annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference, that will take place October 30th to November 2nd here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's a 4-day event. It begins on Thursday, October 30th, with the meet and greet and opening ritual, which will start at 7:30ish, 8 p.m. for those that need to travel, making flight arrangements and want to make sure they're here on time if you are attending the meet and greet and opening ritual. That's on Thursday evening. Friday and Saturday, similar itinerary. Only difference is the one working is indoors, one is outdoor. That's the ritual later in the evening. So Friday and Saturday during the day, we have classes and workshops from 9 to 4 p.m. Then we take a break. We go back to our respective hotels or wherever we're lodging, and we reconvene at about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And we have a group ritual followed by a group dinner and social afterwards. We'll kind of just hang out, kick it. Friday night's working is an indoor ritual, and Saturday is an outdoor working. We always do 1-and-1 every year to get the different experience of doing a magical working and also outside in nature. We usually do it at the beach, the cemetery. It could be, I got something I'm looking into this year. Might be, all I'm going to let you guys know, it might be at a sacred Native American site, but more to come on that. I'm scouting some things out right now. And then Sunday, the last day of the ritual, we close the conference out with a question and answer session from noon to 4 p.m. I'll be doing that question and answer session. And that concludes the ritual. So you can attend in person or virtually. If you're interested, send me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. Please include in the email what you want information on, and I'll get that over to you, okay? If maybe, if you want information on both, to specify in the email, or if you want information on how to attend virtually or in person, just specify that in your email, okay? All right. Also, if you're looking for, or you wanted me to, or you're interested in a spiritual reading or a consultation, I offer various different types of readings: telepathic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, shadow work readings, which again is always a great reading to do when you're looking for a sense of direction. An email I get a lot: Baniti, what kind of ritual work I should be doing, which is a little mystifying to me, but sometimes people can get overwhelmed, and I always tell people, focus on your needs first. What needs? What things do you need to address and correct about yourself? That's, you want to trend in that direction. Well, shadow work, reading is good for that, and also to see what's going on with the shadow and the hidden self, because as we know, shadow work is an ongoing process, right? Deity readings, which are readings designed to see what gods, goddesses, demons, and spirits walk with you. Or maybe you're just interested in a spiritual consultation, got a lot of questions on the occult, the left-hand path, or maybe you want to focus on a specific topic you need some guidance for. Any of the aforementioned, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. Please include in the email your full availability on a weekly basis, along with the time zone that you live in, and I'll get back to you with a date and time that'll work for both of us, all right? Also, don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes. I got a gang of classes going on continuously that I rotate through every month. If you want to see or take the classes, go to patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3 is the tier that gives you access to all the classes and the group ritual we do at the end of the month. Also, keep in mind, when you join, you don't just get access from the day you join moving forward. You also get access to everything in the archives going 6 years back. All right? If you want to see all the classes that are going on, when you go to the Patreon page at patreon.com/Baniti, click the collections menu, and then you will see all the ongoing classes. We got a bunch of them. We got Egyptian Hermetic Alchemy class going on right now, Necronomicon class, Esoterical Quran and Islamic Studies class, Esoterical Bible study class. We've got Shadow Work class going on, Kundalini Meditation and Awakening class. We've got Sith Dark Side Alchemy and Philosophy class, Necromancy and Witchcraft. Luciferian Magic and Self-Mastery class, Telepathic Sorcery. I mean, these are just ones I can recollect. I mean, I'm covering every topic above and beyond the sun. Trust me when I tell you. Okay? If you want to see, go to the page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Click the collection section, and you will see. All right? Also, don't forget to check out the social media pages. Primordial Chaos 9 on Instagram. Primordial Chaos, 2 words, on Facebook, and primordialchaos.com 3 on TikTok. Those are the platforms. Go to them, subscribe to them. Those are the platforms to stay abreast of what I'm doing here at Primordial Chaos. Latest happenings, announcements, classes, events, you name it. Go to those platforms and subscribe to them, okay? Also, don't forget to hit the like button here for the video and subscribe to the channel. Get that algorithm pumping out there. The more likes, it just spreads the video to get that algorithm pumping, all right? So don't forget to like the videos and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast, available on Spotify or major podcast platforms. The direct link to the podcast, my contact email address, the direct link to the social media pages and the Patreon page. All of those links are in the description box of this video that you're watching right now. So, you see the title, but what I want to focus on is what is the true science of magic. And I'm going to take something from the 5 books of satanic philosophy, which to me, I've discussed this separate times in different classes over the years. I think it's one of the best descriptions to describe what magic is, and eliminating all the spookism and the bullshit and the nonsense, right? So what the true science of magic, straight to the point simply, is the magic, or understanding the real science of it, is the science of one mastering themselves, understanding themselves, right? And also what ties into that, so I'm gonna break it down in a couple different fragments. It's one having the awareness of understanding themselves and mastering their surroundings and their environment, having a full understanding of themselves or mastering themselves, and also mastering one's surrounding and environment. Okay, that is as clear cut as a definition as I can give of why do we, like people say, why be into the occult or the left-hand path? Because they got a lot of preconceived, indoctrinated, spooky shit in their head that it's hard for them to shake because of all the nonsense that's out there. Okay, so when you simplify it and you put some practicality behind that and remove a lot of the spookism that's there, you get a better and a greater understanding. It's the science of one understanding themselves and their immediate surrounding and environments. But I want to add on top of that and mastering those concepts. Okay? See, there's a science to this. Let's be clear. And this is why you'll hear the term in some systems of spirituality where they call, you'll hear me use the term spiritual science. Right? What does that mean? What is spiritual science? Well, it's what those 2 words define. Right? There is a level of science that really deals with true spirituality, but especially when you're dealing with what one would call sorcery and magic, it is a spiritual science on a multitude of levels. Because remember, as a magician, and I've reiterated this periodically over the years, as a magician, you like a scientist, you are experimenting, right? Your ritual work is your experimentation, right? Because you create a working like a scientist would in a lab that is doing research or an experiment because they're trying to obtain answers or get results or clarification on something. Well, you're kind of utilizing that same concept when you look at the fact that in your ritual work, you're experimenting, right? And this is also the reason why sometimes ritual work pans out, because you planned it correctly, your intent was in alignment with what you were doing, you fueled your intent correctly, your preparation, all those things, check the boxes and lined up, and sometimes you get fantastic results. Well, there's also the flip side to that. Sometimes you didn't check those boxes, and just like if a scientist sometimes is experimenting, it can completely fail. And it doesn't work. And I'm saying that because I want to keep the practicality there. Because the best way I can put it, there are still large groups of people who are spooked out. And for some reason, they think you're going to come on the left-hand path of the occult and you're going to obtain this superpower right out the gate because you're casting some spells or you're doing some candle magic or light or whatever. And that's just not the case. I want to make sure people understand that this is work. Magic is the science of one understanding themselves and their immediate surrounding and environment. Think about that for a minute. And what are some of the core elements of shadow work? One of the first things you have to do in that process of magic ties into shadow work, which is analyze your surrounding and your environments. I say this all the time because 9 out of 10 times people don't realize their problems are self-created by the choices and the decisions that they make. Let me say that again. Which ties into cause and effect, which equals karma. Okay? See, I don't teach that bullshit and all that spooky shit too. People spook the fuck out of karma. Comes around, goes around. Like some spooky mystical force is going to come slap you upside the head. No. The karma are the effects of the choices and the decisions you make on a daily basis in your life, whether that's a very minimal decision or something that is very critical and very important, that can impact your life in a huge way. Okay, that's the manifestation of that karma. Okay, you make poor decisions with money, you have money problems. You make poor decisions choosing a significant other, a mate, you have relationship problems. Okay, when you go against your personal daemon or your higher self, your holy guardian angel, whatever you want to refer to, because technically all that's the same thing, or you go against that inner being or that inner voice that communicates with you, the real you, and tell, oh, don't do that. I wouldn't make that choice. Nah, I'd stray away from that. And then that lower, weaker self kicks in. Don't worry about it. Right? That's all on you. Okay? I'm here to tell you today, there is no spooky there is no spooky, unforeseen or unseen force that you can't see that's destroying, causing havoc in your life. It's not real. I know some people would like to believe that, but it's just not real. Okay? Your choices and decisions are very impactful of how your life is going to turn out and how things manifest in your life on a daily basis. You hang out with fucked up people, broke people, unsuccessful people, negative people. I don't care how strong, how powerful, how intelligent, wise, and how great you think you are. That energy will start to rub off on you. I'm not saying that you will obtain all those attributes, but the energy itself will bring you down into a whole kind of spectrum of failure. Right? You hang out with unsuccessful people, you're going to become unsuccessful. You hang out with positive, uplifting, and successful people, that will wear off on you in a good way. So, understanding your immediate surrounding and environments and understanding the statement of what the science of magic is, most people don't do that. Analyze your circles. What kind of people you got around you? Do you got leeches and parasites? Do you got drama queens? Do you got people around you always got some drama they trying to drag you in? Do you got gossipers and slanderers? You know, the motherfuckers that call you, hey man, let me talk to you. Don't say nothing, but anytime I hear somebody say that, guess what? My focus is on them. That is the worst way to start a conversation. Hey man, listen man, I can tell you something, but don't say nothing. That's some hoe shit right there. That's some high school kid, immature shit. I don't operate like that. I believe as grown adults, if you got something to say, grown adults need to get together face to face and have that real talk. No bullshit, no backbiting, no slander, no talking behind people's back, talking smack shit. I believe if you got an issue with somebody, you talk it out. You get straight to the point. You don't bullshit. That's not how it is though. So a lot of us want to be these powerful magicians and sorcerers, and we can't even master our immediate surrounding and environments. Look, if your life is a hot mess, I got bad news for you. Your spiritual life ain't gonna be no better. This is why do you think on the 5 points of self-mastery that I created on the Patreon page with the pentagram of Set, why do you think physical and financial are 2 attributes on there? Because a lot of spiritual systems teach this bullshit like it's some badge of honor to be broke and sacrificed because you're this great spiritual person and there's a greater reward waiting for you in the afterlife. Man, fuck that stupidity. Okay? That's for broke-ass minded people. That's for people who are sheeple, who are followers, and that's for people who are mentally dead and mentally asleep. I'm not waiting for mine later, because guess what? A lot of people making those statements, they can't even guarantee a later is ever going to come. Not in the sense that they're saying it. Okay? It is no honor in being broke. It's not a badge of honor. I don't know what this shit is with people who on these certain spiritual paths, like being broke and not having, like, it's this great, honorable, and noble thing. It's not. If you're rich in knowledge, you should also be rich on all levels. Okay? You should be a manifestation of the success that the knowledge that you claim to have, it should show in your actions, your words, your deeds, and the example you set by how you live your life. So see, people want to go deep when it comes to magic. I want magic. They want to get into all the hardcore stuff and the intense altars and this and that, but they don't want to start at the bottom, the base, the foundation. You got to get your mundane life in order first. Stop acting like that's not important. If you come on this path to escape the bullshit and the problems you have in your mundane life, it's going to get worse when you come on this path. Because you're working with archetypes, entities, spirits, demons, gods, and goddesses that are going to boil that to the surface. When you work with the infernal gods and goddesses, you're working with spirits that are going to bring your bullshit up that you've been avoiding. Because the purpose is to face your bullshit, right? It's one of the key things. Face your weaknesses. Face your shortcomings. Face the parts about yourself that you've been suppressing, good or bad. It's not just the bad. The good points you'll strengthen and sharpen more, like a warrior sharpens his sword when he goes to battle, he or she. But stop bypassing your mundane life and think you're just going to skip it and go into the hardcore magic and cast spells and do this and that, and like all your life's problems is just going to magically evaporate. You're fooling yourself. It doesn't work like that. Magic is the science of one understanding themselves and their immediate surrounding and environments. Most people don't even have a good hold on what's going on around them. If some of you guys have done shadow work readings with me, or you're in the shadow work classes, what's one of the things, one of the hot topics of discussion that comes up a lot? Analyze your surroundings, your circles that you walk in, the people you affiliate with, the things you do. Analyze your habits, your characteristics, your traits, your behavior patterns, right? See, people don't want to do that shit. Oh man, that just sounds like a bunch of complicated, unnecessary bullshit. Well, if that sounds like that to you, then you don't understand what this path is about. See, you want all the glory. People want all the glory without doing the work. People just want, I put on my black magic robe and my hood and hail Satan, and all that bullshit. That's not what this path is about. I don't teach that bullshit. So when you're hearing a occult left-hand path, I'm coming from a whole different perspective. It's sad because you got people from all walks of life that they hear occult left-hand path. Oh, Satanism? Satanic? As if that's the only aspect of the occult and the left-hand path, the satanic church, or this concept of what satanic theology is about. So you know what it is? It's the word. You get caught up in the word. And your mind is so poisoned and indoctrinated with religion, you hear satanic or Satan. Be honest, your mind goes to the Bible and religion and God and the devil, and that's the reason why they did it. That's what's supposed to happen. That's their goal. So immediately it triggers the emotion of fear. And then all the preconceived explanations and doctrines and dogmas that exist on religion and the devil poison and corrupt your mind. But you don't even go to the origin and the etymology of the words. And because they are titles. Satan is the word you would see for adverse or adversity. When you're reading your Bible, there were many times, many people in many different places were referred to as a Satan or a adversary. I've heard people give the definition of this word 1,000,000 times and they're wrong. And they don't back it up when it means adversary. This is why you hear another term used for this path, the adversarial current. The title given to who they call, quote unquote, the devil, which is a modern day English word. We could go back to the Latin and the Greek and Diablo and all that, right? It's a word that's simply an adversary. Somebody that's an adversary is adverse to what you think is correct or right. So Satan is called the adversary or the adverse one because it's promoted to you through religion that he is adverse to the monotheistic or the biblical God, if we want to even label it in that box. I'm just saying. Okay? So people just don't even have an understanding of just the simplistic things about what this path is about. So they hear Satan or satanic magic, and they have all of the indoctrinated definitions that they've been programmed with, especially if you're an older person going back to when you were a very small child. Okay? The adversarial current is a path of self-mastery. Okay? True occult left-hand path practice is a path of self-mastery. And the key and most important word in that statement is self. You've got to put the work in. So in understanding the science of magic, I always tell people, one of the first things you got to do on this path, make changes in your surrounding environment. Because some people, it's hard for them to grasp the fact that they're in bad situations because they didn't really stop, pause, and look and say, man, shit, I put myself here bad based on the decisions and the choices I made. See, it ain't even that deep. The other problem is we got people that want to make shit, a lot of just simplistic shit that's easy to understand. They always want to make it spiritual and heavy and deep. And it's not even that sometimes. And I'm going to be honest with you. Majority of the time, it's usually never any of that. So let me just keep it 100% for you. The reality that it boils down to, people don't have a good grasp of what this path is truly about. That's the problem. They've got a concept or an understanding in their mind that was placed there by something or somebody. It could be somebody they heard speak on YouTube or the internet or a book they read. It could be something or somebody. Rather than the individual using what I said a few minutes back, like a scientist, experiment and indulge because it's the only way you're going to learn and see what's for you and what's not. I always use this simple now. It's like food. How are you gonna know you like or dislike a food until you what? You got to taste it or try it, right? And that's what the doctrine of indulgence is. So when you try and taste the food, just like when you're indulging in something new, you do it within reason and discipline. When you try a new food you're sure you're not like, you don't take a huge sample size of it and stuff it down your mouth and gobble it down. No, you take a small piece. Pay attention to what I'm about to say to you. It's a jewel. It's a nook and cranny if you're catching it. When you're trying like a new food you're uncertain about, what do you usually do? You take a small sample size bite or piece so you can sample it to see if you like. Well, that's how you got to do with your magic and your spirituality, especially when it's something new. Or maybe you have some doubts, concerns, or maybe fears and anxieties you're trying to get over. Well, you're going to have to indulge and experiment within reason and discipline. And this is why when people say, well, where do I start with something? I always give you simple things like sigil meditations. And you always hear me say stuff like to get acclimated with the energy, to see how it resonates with your spirit and your soul. So it's the same thing like testing a new food. Try things in small samples to see how you react. And this is why you always hear me say you're never going to get to the point. It's like one of the most redundant and it's a question that you can't give a definitive answer to. Well, how do I know I'm ready to work the clip pop? How do I know I'm ready to work the tunnels of Set? You think I'm ready to dive in and work with Lilith? And you think it's right? First of all, I don't think shit. when it comes to anybody else. It's none of my business. Number two, no person should tell you if you're ready or you're not ready for anything. It's one thing if they're giving a perspective on it. But as I said before, the very fact if you're asking you're ready is usually the sign that you're not at the moment. Okay, but my point being was this. You will never be 100% prepared for anything on this path. And not just this path, in life in general. So all you could do is your due diligence, educate yourself to the best of your ability, make yourself as aware to the level as possible as you can, and then do without doing. Right? You hear that saying all the time, do without doing. Right? Do without doing means just do the process, flow. Do what it is you do. Stop stressing about what could go right, what could go wrong, what could go left, what could go right, upside down, and all that. Let things be. Put your intent out there, and that's where the do without doing comes into place. Doesn't mean sit around, don't do anything. Trust the process. Flow with what it is you need to do naturally, and things manifest. Okay? But people don't know how to do without doing. Okay? You've got to learn the science of that. Okay? And you have to learn to trust the process. But you're not going to be able to do that until you experiment and indulge with discipline and reason. Again, I use that food analogy. You take small bite-sized samples. When you're testing a new food, you taste it, you proceed with due diligence. Right? If it's something hot or spicy, you gradually sink into it to see how you react. Well, it's the same thing with your magic and your spirituality. You got to indulge and start out in small portions first to see how you resonate or don't resonate with it. Okay? It's the only way you're gonna know. There's no 100 foolproof methodology, and that's why people get stuck like Chuck, struggle on this path and don't know how to deal with adversity when it does come, because they want to try to have this like in their mind, everything clear and understanding before they go into doing the work. But that's insecurity, that's fear. That's somebody who doesn't have confidence and trust in their ability or themselves. Okay? That's all that is. So, to really put this into practice, the science of magic is the ability, one, to understand themselves and their immediate surrounding and environments. Base your understanding and work with that concept from those 2 points on, and I guarantee you'll start to build a strong foundation. Okay, so understanding yourself. What is it? Do you really understand yourself? Do you really know who and what you really are? Are you fully alert and aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, your shortcomings, your fears, your anxieties? Have you been honest with yourself and addressed ways about yourself that you know are detrimental to your spiritual growth and evolution on the path to self-mastery? Right? And again, that's where shadow work comes into play again. And most people will have to be honest and say, no, they're not doing those things. Well, trying to come on this path and bypass points A to Y and go straight to Z and think you're going to get to the finish line and you're going to get everything fixed and clarified and answered and all life's problems are going to go away, man, you're fooling your damn self. Period. You're fooling your damn self. Okay? It starts with you, and it will always start with you. It will always be an inward journey out. Not an outward journey in. This path is not teaching you to look for salvation outside of yourself. It's not teaching you to look for some spook sky daddy that's billions of light years away. Because again, one of the biggest perpetrated frauds that they are perpetrating on the masses is searching for something that doesn't even exist. And that's fucking genius, because if I could put you on a wild goose chase, if I could put you on a manhunt and fuck with you mentally, and convince you that there's something that exists called this God, but place this God so far away from you that I have you playing hide and seek for the rest of your life. I create all these systems of indoctrination to increase, like, to convince you, and you start to accept and embrace this almighty God and this, that, and the other. But then I put a wrench in the game when I explain to you where this God is located. Now you're fucked. Because you will spend your entire life, literally, looking for something that doesn't even exist. And they know it. The powers that be know it. Okay? So we ain't got time anymore to look for things that don't exist. Okay? We have no time anymore to embrace childish spiritual systems of indoctrination. We ain't got no time for that. Okay? This is the time in the era. It's time to wake up. Right? Because a lot of people have been asleep for many years. And a lot of these people that have been asleep for many years, they've been so engulfed in a religion they might be involved with now, or a certain spiritual system, and they think they had the truth, the know-it-all, that my way is the right way. What I practice spiritually is above and beyond anything anybody else is into. See, all that is bullshit and nonsense that keeps everybody separated even further from growing and coming together. That's the problem. Okay? So look, I'm almost at my destination. I want to reiterate. That's what the science of magic is. The true science of magic is the ability for one to understand themselves, and I'm going to add master themselves and their immediate surrounding and environments. So before you want to go fucking Harry Potter and fucking, Darth Vader and all that, right? Start at the foundation. Again, I'm going to say it again real quick before I close this out. Analyze the people in your circle. What kind of people do you got around you? What kind of so-called friends do you have around you? Do you got good people around you, bad people? Is there any people around you that are influential in your life, good or bad? Right? I would focus more on the ones that maybe, you see this happen a lot. People hang out with a person who's a negative, bad influence on them, always leading them down the wrong path, getting them into a heap of drama and shit. See, identify all that stuff. Person, places, and things in your immediate surrounding and environments that are detrimental to your spiritual growth. That are like cancers that you need to cut off, kill, before they spread into every facet of your life and cause chaos and drama to the point where it devours and consumes you, where you don't have no control over that chaotic energy. So, again, analyze your immediate surroundings and environment. That's person, places, and things. And then after you do that, real simple, step 2 is now analyze yourself. Right? We have workings and rituals in the shadow work, the winding staircase ritual, the self-realization rite, that are rituals designed to help you unlock aspects of yourself that you need to work on. And they're proven techniques. I stand firm on my shadow work. I got over 20-something classes of it, but I'm showing you techniques and rituals, not how you just uncover what it is you need to address. That's step 1, but step 2 is now designing ritual and spiritual work to actually fix, correct, and master those things. Okay? So in this second process, after you analyze your immediate surroundings and environments, now the finger points to you. What traits or characteristics or personality behaviors that you might have that are toxic or not good? What are some of the things that have impacted you or are still impacting you on a psychological, mental, and emotional level? Because we've all picked up psychological residue in our upbringing from a small child to an adult. We've all experienced some shit. I don't care who you are. So now we got to see, is there a lot of psychological residue holding me down? Right? Why am I shy? Why am I insecure? Why do I have fears and anxieties? Why am I so introverted? Maybe your throat chakra is not functioning right, so you can't express yourself correctly. Right? Am I suffering from trauma that I have not dealt with or abuse, such as physical, could be sexual abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. Like I said, I hear this a lot, where a lot of people came through a toxic upbringing from their parents. And projection is a motherfucker when it comes to understanding shadow work, because if you were raised, and sometimes I hear this story a lot, people raised and it could have been the mother, the father, sometimes both, telling them, oh, you ain't gonna be shit, you're nothing, or the mom telling their young daughters they're growing up, no man's ever gonna want you, you're not gonna amount to shit in your life. That is just as damaging sometimes as physical abuse. Words sting when you don't use them right. There are effects from those words. So when a person's told that their whole lives, that's going to leave some psychological residue and trauma on their subconscious mind, and it's going to affect how they operate as an adult or live their lives. It's very important that you analyze and look at that. Look, as I've said many times to you guys before, a true left-hand path occult practitioner is a critical thinker. You've got to be proactive and know how to use critical thinking skills. If you're a reactionary, a reactive emotional person, you're going to fail on this path. Because 9 out of 10 times when you react off of pure emotion, you get shot the fuck down. Or you make a bad decision, or you dig yourself, as they say, further, a deeper hole, or you go down a rabbit hole that you can't get out of because you can't control your fucking emotions. You're overcome by your emotions. Your lower and your weaker self takes charge and sets in, and then you act and make decisions off of raw emotion because you're angry and you're mad and you're pissed off and you're jealous, or you're in a state of rage. You can't make a conscious, critical decision in a mind state like that. The true individual on the path to self-mastery is a critical thinker and applies critical thinking skills. This is all the process of the science of magic and one understanding themselves and their immediate surrounding and environments. I don't know how many other ways I could put it. I sure as fuck hope this video helped you out. I think it's one of them straight to the point, in your face, not cutting no corners video. Take this knowledge, apply it, understand it, and hopefully it will give you solutions and answers to some of the shit you've been dealing with, all right? Other than that, I am just about at my destination. If you need to reach out to me for a spiritual reading or a consultation, or you want to sign up for classes, this, that, and the third, again, my contact email address, along with the direct link to the social media pages, the podcast, and the Patreon page to sign up for classes. All of those links are in this description box of this video. Also, again, I want to remind you, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so we can get this algorithm pumping and flowing and get this information out. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Infernal blessings. I'm out of here, and we'll talk soon.